Hi all, welcome to Tech Forum. In this video, let us deep dive on Speculation Rules API. What is Speculation Rules API? The Speculation Rules API is designed to improve performance for future navigations. Traditionally, resource hints like prerender and prefetch are used for this. The Speculation API allows the web developers to specify which resources the browser should prefetch or prerender. This allows the browser to smartly load these pages or resources in advance, creating a faster and smoother browsing experience. It's like the next page the user potentially navigate is already ready, making everything load faster and creating a smoother online experience. The speculation rules work better with MPAs, means multi-page applications, because they often load new HTML documents. On the other hand, SPA use one HTML document and update the content dynamically. This doesn't match as well with the Speculation Rules API functionalities. The Speculation API is not currently supported by all the browsers. Chrome supports most of the functionalities, followed by Edge limited to some of the functionalities. Other browsers doesn't support this API currently. The developers can detect support for the Speculation Rules API using standard HTML checks. They should also be careful when applying the speculation rules to prevent problems like accidentally starting analytics or script that are supposed to run only when a user goes to the actual page. Also to avoid high resource usages due to pre-rendering and prefetching that impacts the user experience. The Speculation Rules API supports both prefetch and prerender. Prefetch means loading the main content of a web page that the user might visit next. This process just fetches the HTML document, not the associated sub-resources like images or CSS. You can use the rel equal to prefetch resource hint to prefetch the sub-resources. The prefetching can be used for the cross-origin request. The next one is prerender. This fetches the main content, also the sub-resources associated with it, including scripts, style sheets and images. This process prepares the entire web page, means rendering it in the background. When a user clicks on the link, the page loads quickly. The pre-rendering process consumes greater resources. Use carefully to avoid the negative performance and user experience impacts. The pre-rendering process doesn't support cross-origin request. The Speculation Rules API supports list and document rules. The list rule is denoted by source:list. Even the source:list can be skipped. The URLs key implicitly refers to the list rules. The URLs are parsed relative to the document base URL if the rules are loaded inline, or relative to the external URL if the rules fetched from a external location. If you refer to this sample rule definition, the rules are defined in a JSON structure and inside a special script type called speculation rules. If you see here pre-render rules, then prefetch rule, you can define multiple pre-render and prefetch rules. If you see again here pre-render rule, source, list, then you can specify URLs. Here any URL start with /test1 or /test3. Also prefetch, source, list, URLs. I am specifying a external URL here. Also you can specify requirements. Currently only anonymized client IP when cross-origin is supported. This requirement anonymizes the IP address while prefetching the cross-origin request to protect the user privacy. This requirement is skipped if the browser doesn't support the IP anonymization process. The additional hints can be specified for the list rules. The first one is targeting hints. This notifies the API whether the page will be loaded on current page or on a new page while user click on the link. This helps the API to prefetch or pre-render effectively based on the target location. Next one is referrer policy. This allows to control the referrer policy while prefetching the cross-origin request. The next one is relative to. This specifies the URLs are relative to the base document. Next is dynamic rules. The dynamic rule is denoted by source document. The document rules allows the browser to find the URLs for speculation from link elements in the page. The developers can define pattern based allow or deny list. This allows to handle the speculation for large number of links or dynamic content easily. The document rules are enabled part of latest Chrome version 121. Edge currently not support the document rules. The URL can be compared against the URL patterns using href matches the href link against the pattern. The next one is selector matches the link element with the provided selector, not requiring the condition not to match, and every condition in the list matches, or at least one condition in the list matches. Refer to this sample rule, prefetch source document, then where both conditions met means we are using AND here. The href matches /test star means anything start with /test, then not href matches anything start with /test1 star means we are enabling the speculation for all these URLs start with /test but skipping the URL start with /test1 star. You can also specify the targeting and relative to hints to the document rules. Let us now see eagerness hints. The developers can specify the eagerness hints for the rules. Hints about how eagerly preload or prefetch the links to balance the performance and resource overhead. If the eagerness hint is not specified for the rules, list rules default to immediate and the document rules default to conservative. Immediate and eager values. The links are prefetched or pre-rendered after page loading means on DOM content loaded event. Moderate. This works on hover and mouse down events. The next one is conservative. This works only on mouse down event. Let us now quickly review the code and a quick demo. I am enabling these speculation rules for index.html. The speculation rules can statically exist in the page. If you see here, we are defining the rules inside the HTML page, or even we can dynamically inject by the JavaScript. If you see here, we are dynamically injecting the rule. You can check whether the browser supports the speculation rules before even enabling it. If not supported, you can follow the traditional approaches to pre-render and prefetch. The speculation rules API also supports loading the rules from an external file. To load the speculation rules from an external file, as a first step, define a speculation rules file .json. So if you see here, same syntax, define all the requested rules here, prefetch or prerender. Now you should define the content type response header for this rule file to application/speculation rules plus JSON. So this notify the browser this file provides the speculation rules. Now set the response header speculation rules pointing to the speculation rules file speculation rules.json. For the page, the rules need to be applied. In my case, it's /index.html. Even the external cross-origin rule location can be specified, but we need to ensure the CORS settings enabled accordingly. This feature is now supported in Chrome 121 as per the release note, but I could not able to make this work. I am getting some warnings and error. I hope this will be addressed in future releases. Let us quickly review the rules. Prefetch source list rule. Then we are specifying the URLs test1.html and test2.html. Relative to we already discussed. These URLs are resolved relative to the current document. Again, source list URLs we are specifying. Here we are specifying the external cross-origin URL. Only HTTPS cross-origin URLs are supported here. You can define the requirements. As we discussed earlier, anonymous client IP when cross-origin. This requirement is applied only if the browser supports it. You can also specify other hints like referrer policy if required. The default eagerness value for the list rule is immediate, but we can specify different values if required, example moderate or conservative. Even you can define document rules to prefetch the links based on URL patterns. You can also define pre-render rules. If you see here, first rule, source document, where we are specifying ant href matches any URLs that starts with /test but not the URL starts with test1, test2 and test6. Here if you want, you can even specify or condition to match multiple conditions. Eagerness specifying to moderate. Next rule, again source document, where we have only one condition, selector matches any links matches with this particular selector dot pre-render, the class defined with this name, the pre-rendering is enabled. Also here the eagerness we are specifying as immediate. Again I am defining a list rule, source list, then we are using the target hint underscore blank, then URLs test6.html, eagerness conservative. So if you see here, this target hint is not by default enabled in Chrome. So we should enable this feature flag. If I go here, this specific feature flag, speculation rules API, target hint, I already enabled. The target hint is useful. By default, the browser pre-render the resource, assuming the page is going to be loaded on the current window. But in case the page opened on a new tab, the pre-rendered page is wasted and it cannot be used. The browser need to load the page again. To avoid this, the target hint can be specified. Let us see this during the demo. I have enabled different test pages, test 1, test 2, test 3, 4, 5 and 6, and enable the links to these pages from index.html. Also enable link to a cross-origin domain, my blog domain I am pointing here. Also a link with a pre-render class, so to demo the selector matches. Also specified target equal to underscore blank to the link pointing to test6.html. To identify if the specific page request is for pre-rendering or prefetching at server side, the sec-purpose header is sent to the server as part of the every prefetching and pre-rendering request. Based on this header, the server can execute an action that's specific to pre-rendering or prefetching request. For prefetching request, the value is going to be prefetch. For the pre-render request, the value is going to be prefetch semicolon pre-render. To identify if a page was prefetched, the delivery type element can be used. If performance dot get entries by type navigation delivery type, if it matches to navigational prefetch, it means this page was prefetched. Also to identify whether the page is pre-rendered at client side, we can use document dot pre-rendering variable that returns a boolean value true if the page was pre-rendered. Also you can use performance dot get entries by type navigation, then activation start variable. If the value returned is greater than 0, means the page was pre-rendered. While testing this, the console.log will not be printing, so I use local storage.set item to prove that this event is triggered and invoked. Also, the pre-rendering change event is triggered when a pre-rendered page is viewed by the user. You can perform the actions inside this pre-rendering change event. Those are only executed while user accesses the page, not during the pre-rendering process. For example, you can enable the analytics script part of this handler to avoid measuring the wrong traffic. If you see here, maybe we need to uncomment this code so that if this page is pre-rendered, only when the page is activated, this enables the analytic tag, otherwise directly enable the analytic tag. So like this you can perform any activity that should be performed only during the actual page activated by the user. The next one is content security policy and speculation rules. If you restrict the script loading through CSP header on your website, the speculation rules execution also blocked. To enable the speculation rules, you can either use script hash or nonce. Also, the inline speculation rules string can be used, but this currently only support the static rules defined in the HTML file. Let us quickly see the demo now. I have accessed my example.com/index.html file. So this displays all the link. If you see the console log, this prints speculation rules supported, means our speculation API check is passed and the browser supports the API. If you go to the network tab, you can find the URLs prefetched. These URLs were specified with the eagerness hint immediate or eager. If you see here prefetch cache, also type is prefetch. If you go to the application speculative loads, you can find the details on the speculation rules enabled on this specific page. If you go to rules, you can find all these rules. Index.html, that's a page. Then status, 4 rules not triggered, 3 rules are ready, 1 rule is failed. If you go here, this you can see here, this took long time, so this rule is failed. But if I refresh this page, this is fine. Now if I go to rules again, 4 not triggered, 4 is ready. If you see here, test1.html is ready, selector match.html is ready. These rules are specified with the eagerness hint, either immediate or eager. Now test5 is not triggered. Let me go and hover that. If you go here and see, test5 is now ready. So also I can do that for test3 ready. Test4 also, yeah, it's getting ready, but error displayed for test5.html. This page was ready earlier. The error says the old non-eager pre-render was automatically cancelled due to starting a new non-eager pre-render. This means only specific number of non-eager pre-rendering can be active at a specific time. Let me now go and click on this external link. This is already ready status. So, but let me click on that. Open this fine. Now if you go back here, I refresh this page. So rules again. So you see here, one is failed. If you see albinsblog.com, the external link is now failed. So the error says this URL was not eligible to be prefetched because it was cross-site, but the user had cookies for that origin. So once the cross origin has a cookie values, so you will not able to do a prefetching. If I clear the cookies again, so and come back and refresh, this will be ready for prefetching. Now if you see here, the pre-rendering is not triggered for test6.html. The eagerness was specified as conservative for this specific rule. If it is conservative, the process is triggered on mouse down. Let me do that. I'm going and clicking the mouse here. So 6. Now if you see, it's ready. So that's fine. Let me click on test1 link. The action for test1 is prefetch. So let me click here. So now if I go to console, you can see test1 was prefetched. This is printed. Let me do a view source. We already reviewed this code. This one performance delivery type. This is printing. Test1 was prefetched. Let me click on test4 link now. Test4 action is pre-render. Now if I go to console, it's printed test4 activated pre-rendered version. Now if I go to application, then go to local storage. If you see here, test4 pre-rendered, the value is true and the timestamp is current. Now if I do a view source here, this one enabling the local storage content, document.pre-rendering. Then as we discussed, this pre-rendering change event printing this test4 activated pre-rendered version. Means user clicked on the link and viewed the page. To quickly identify if the page is pre-rendered, execute this on the page console. Performance.get entries by type navigation, then activation start. If this returns the value greater than 0, that means the page was pre-rendered. Let me click on selector match link. The action for this is pre-render. Let me click on this selector match, go to console. Let me execute this particular command. Now if you see, you are getting a positive number greater than 0, means this page was pre-rendered. Let me click on test6 link. The action is pre-render. If you see here, yeah, pre-render. Click on this. If I go to console, So nothing is printed. If I do a view page source, the expectation is at least test 6 activated pre-rendered version should be printed. The reason is the test6.html, the link is specified with target equal to underscore blank. But if I go to index.html and the rules, so if you see here, target hint is not specified. So that is the reason. Let me now uncomment this target hint equal to underscore blank. This is fine. Let me now go back and click on test 6 link. If I refresh this page, rules, okay, this is fine. Now click on this. Now do inspect console. Now if you see, test 6 activated pre-rendered version is printed. The Speculation Rules API represents a powerful tool for web developers aiming to improve the performance of MPAs by reducing the load times through prefetching and pre-rendering of resources. It requires careful implementation and testing to ensure it aligns with the intended user experience and application flow. Compared to traditional approach, the Speculation API provides easy approach to manage the prefetching and pre-rendering for the links. Mainly the document rules helps to enable prefetching and pre-rendering for large number of links and dynamic content. I will post the code repository link to the video description for your reference. That's all for today. Thanks all for watching the video. See you all in the next video.